The Kroger Plus card worn down from a decade of swipes. The weekly circular on the kitchen table. The fuel pump clicking toward free. That's the Kroger experience. And in 2026, it's being rebuilt from the inside out.
Grocery giant Kroger announced today it's going to close its automated facility in Groveland.
More than 1,000 people are employed there, and the impact is already being felt.
In ways the company is really hoping you won't notice until it's already done. America's largest supermarket chain is not upgrading. It's rebuilding itself. As a data company, a pricing machine, and an advertising platform, all while you're reaching for milk. Shelf tags already live in stores that can reprice your groceries while you're standing in front of them. Robots packing your delivery order in a warehouse an hour from your house. And your purchase history, what you bought when you were broke, what you bought when you were sick, being packaged and sold. Some of these changes will sound like improvements. By number 1, you'll understand why millions of loyal Kroger shoppers have every reason to be furious. Let's get into it. Number 10, the cashier exodus. Walk into more and more Kroger stores right now and look at the front end. More self-checkout terminals. Fewer staffed lanes. One actual human cashier managing 3 stations at once while the line backs up. You've seen it. You've stood in it. In 2026, Kroger is accelerating this. And here's why it makes perfect business sense, even if it makes 0 sense for you. Labor is the biggest controllable cost in a grocery operation. Kroger runs more than 2,700 stores. When you reduce front-end staffing even slightly, multiplied across that many locations, the savings are enormous. Nobody has to announce a single layoff. You just stop scheduling as many hours and let attrition do the work. The self-checkout expansion and digital shelf label programs effectively function as a 1-2 punch. The tags eliminate the staff who used to swap paper prices. The terminals eliminate the staff who used to run registers. You reduce the human footprint in a store without ever holding a press conference. And sure, when it works, when you're buying 5 items and every barcode scans on the first try, self-checkout is genuinely faster. No waiting for an overworked cashier, no awkward small talk. You're in and out. But here's what nobody talks about. In unionized Kroger markets, locals of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union have been in active contract negotiations over exactly this issue, because every self-checkout terminal that displaces a staffed register represents hours, wages, and bargaining leverage that don't come back. One local described the situation plainly. The technology doesn't need a grievance filed against it. It just shows up and the hours disappear. One Kroger shopper put it in a way that ends the argument. 10 self-checkout lanes. One human checker. I don't work here. Why am I doing their job? That opinion is not fringe. Walk into any Kroger comment section on the internet right now, and you'll find it everywhere. The cashiers are leaving. But what Kroger is putting on the shelves while you're checking yourself out, that's where things get seriously interesting. Number 9, the fuel points slow leak. Kroger's Fuel Rewards program is one of the smartest loyalty hooks in American retail history. Families have reorganized their entire grocery shopping around cents off per gallon. Some households were stacking bonuses to get gas for basically free. It was a real deal. And it is quietly getting worse in a way Kroger will never announce out loud. Here's how they do it. No letter, no notification, no press release. The rules just shift. One documented example, a bonus 25-cent per gallon credit card discount that has been winding down for many cardholders, for some gone after January 31st, 2026, buried in fine print on a statement, not in any announcement. You used to get this. Now you don't. Check your next statement. Kroger keeps the escape clause right there in the program terms. Rules are subject to change. The 25-cent bonus is one example of how that clause gets used, quietly and in one direction only. The fuel reward structure is moving toward app behavior, digital coupon engagement, and specific purchase categories. The old deal was simple. Spend here, save at the pump. The new deal is spend here, play our app game, follow the coupons we push you, do what the algorithm wants, and then, maybe, save at the pump. Kroger didn't announce this change. They just moved the goalpost and waited to see who noticed. Broad fuel discounts for everyone are expensive to fund. If Kroger can make you work for the savings instead of just handing them out, they spend less, collect more behavioral data, and steer your buying toward higher margin products along the way. The investor word for this is profitable growth. The shopper word for it is the deal got stingier, and now you have to earn it. Not every shopper will lose that exact perk. Heavy app users who play along can still extract real savings, but the pattern matters. Perks can be removed quietly, and the people who find out are the ones staring at a smaller number at the pump. with no explanation. And here's who gets hit hardest. If you're over 60 on a fixed income and you built a shopping routine around a simple, consistent fuel discount, one that never required an app, a coupon code, or a behavioral data trade, Kroger has renegotiated that deal without telling you. The 68-year-old woman who's been shopping this same Kroger since before they had a website never needed an app. The deal was always simple. Clean move, no memo. She found out the way everyone finds out, by getting less than she expected with no explanation. One commenter put it plainly, "I don't understand why I need an app to get a discount. I've been earning the same way for 15 years. That's not confusion. That's someone watching a loyalty promise get rewritten without her permission. The fuel points are changing whether you've noticed yet or not. And while that's been happening quietly, Kroger was installing something on the shelves that made 2 United States senators pick up a pen and write a letter to corporate headquarters. Number 8, the Edge label installation. While you were loading your groceries into the trunk, Kroger was installing cameras on the shelves. Read that again. The system is called Edge, Kroger's digital shelf platform powered by Microsoft Azure. It replaces paper price tags with electronic displays across thousands of products. Prices that used to take nearly 48 hours to manually update across an entire chain now change in seconds. The infrastructure is already live in stores across the country. Not coming. Here. On the surface, fine. Operational efficiency. No more staff with a binder swapping paper tags for hours. Perishables can get marked down automatically. The system syncs in real time. If you're a late afternoon shopper who hunts for discounted meat near closing time, a faster markdown system is genuinely useful to you. But in August 2024, 2 United States Senators, Elizabeth Warren and Bob Casey, sent a formal letter directly to Kroger's chief executive, and the letter did not congratulate them on their efficiency. The senators wrote that this infrastructure may enable time of day and weather-based price surges on essential groceries, designed, their exact words, to extract maximum profits from shoppers who have no convenient alternative. When demand spikes, the tag changes. Automatically, no employee makes a call, the algorithm decides. And then there's the cameras. Edge-equipped shelves include camera hardware that has been tested to infer shopper age, gender, and other demographic traits, to push personalized advertisements at the shelf while you're standing there deciding what to buy. Not online, not in an app, at the physical shelf in the store that you drove to buy groceries. Kroger's official response: the tags are for efficiency and markdowns. That is all they've committed to in writing. Not, "We will never surge price." Not, "The cameras won't be used for targeting." Just, "Right now, this is what we're using them for." Reassuring. Totally reassuring. If this is already changing how you look at that Plus card, hit subscribe. Because at number 2, you'll find out exactly how close Kroger already is to actually using all of this. The tags are the hardware. What Kroger is doing with the data from those tags and from every swipe of the card you've been carrying for years, that's number 6. And it changes everything about what you thought a loyalty program was. Number 7, the private label takeover. Your favorite brand disappeared from the Kroger shelf. And before you blame a supply chain problem or a vendor dispute, it wasn't. It was a decision. A very deliberate, very data-driven decision made by a company in Cincinnati that knows exactly how much of your brand loyalty it can delete before you get mad enough to leave. Simple truth. Private selection. The Kroger brand. Those are the labels filling the space where your national brands used to live. Shoppers in multiple regions report entire shelf sections. Canned tomatoes, pasta, pantry staples, where only Kroger's own products remain. Not out of stock. Not backordered. Just gone and replaced. Here's the machinery behind it. Kroger runs a company called 8451, an actual data science firm in Cincinnati, staffed entirely for this purpose, that processes the item-level purchase histories of tens of millions of Kroger households. It can identify, down to the product category and the zip code, how many branded facings can be removed before enough shoppers get annoyed and walk. Then Kroger removes them. Then they measure. Then they remove a few more. It is polite, systematic, and extremely good at not triggering your defection point. You're basically being slowly boiled and the frog is you. The math is simple. Private label margins are significantly higher than national brand margins. When you buy the Kroger version instead of the name brand, Kroger keeps more of that dollar. Since the data tells them exactly how far to push, they push exactly that far. To be fair, some Kroger private label products are genuinely excellent. Simple Truth organic lines compete with national brands on quality and beat them on price. If you're flexible about the label, you can save real money in the store. But here's what the algorithm can't account for. Shoppers with specific dietary needs, allergen-controlled households, people managing diabetes, heart conditions, or medications who spent years finding the exact product with the exact formulation that works for them. The algorithm doesn't know why you buy what you buy. It only knows that statistically, enough people in your demographic accepted the substitution. You might not be the statistic the model bothered to protect. My brand just disappeared. Only Kroger's version is left now. That shows up constantly in shopper forums. Most people assume it's a shipping issue. It usually isn't. It's 8451 doing its job. The brands are going, but the engine behind it, the actual data company making those calls, that's number 6. And once you understand what that company does with the rest of your purchase history, you'll never look at the Plus card the same way. Number 6. The data business you're funding. 8451 knows which of your brands can be quietly replaced, but that same data platform, those same purchase histories from those same tens of millions of households, feeds something much larger, something most Kroger shoppers have never heard of. Kroger runs what's widely described as a billion-dollar scale advertising business. It's called Kroger Precision Marketing, and it is built entirely on your shopping history. Here's the actual business. Kroger Precision Marketing, operating through the 8451 data arm, takes item-level purchase records from tens of millions of households and sells hyper-targeted advertising products to consumer packaged goods companies. Web ads, connected TV spots, in-store digital placements, off-site media. The food brands you buy pay Kroger to find people exactly like you, based on what you bought last Tuesday and the Tuesday before that and the one before that. Grocery margins are brutal, 2 to 3% on a good day. The data business runs on margins that look nothing like that. Kroger's 2025 strategy explicitly unifies loyalty marketing, consumer insights, and retail media under Kroger Precision Marketing to offer brands what the company calls, and this is their actual language, a unified offering across media, insights, and incentives. Translation: your shopping basket is the product. The food companies are the customers. And sure, if targeted promotions mean you're getting deals on things you actually buy instead of coupons for products you've never touched, that's marginally useful. Some shoppers genuinely prefer relevant offers over random ones. Fine, but let's be honest about what's actually in that basket. Not just cereal and pasta. The antacids you grabbed during a stressful month, the blood pressure medication sitting next to your produce, the cheap store brand everything you bought the week after a big car repair wiped out your budget. That's not a grocery list. That's a biography of a household. And every item in it, time-stamped, cross-referenced, item level, gets packaged and sold to whoever is willing to pay Kroger Precision Marketing for access to it. The Kroger Plus discount is not a gift. It's the admission price to the data system. You scan the card, you get a few cents off, and Kroger gets a longitudinal profile of your household that it sells to the highest bidder. Functionally, in 2026, Kroger is not a grocery company that also happens to run an ad platform on the side. It's a data company that also sells groceries. That distinction matters because data companies optimize for the data. The shopper is the raw material, not the customer. Your data is funding the advertising machine. Your delivery order, meanwhile, is being packed by something that doesn't get tired, doesn't call in sick, and has never once picked a good avocado. Number 5. The robot warehouse. Your Kroger delivery order is not being picked by someone who works at your local store. In more and more cases, it's being assembled by robots inside a facility you will never see that may be an hour away. That does not look anything like a grocery store. Kroger's partnership with Ocado has produced customer fulfillment centers, giant automated warehouses where machines assemble online orders with minimal human involvement. Why? Because Kroger reported more than $16 billion in digital sales last year, with 15 consecutive quarters of digital sales growth. At that scale, you cannot run e-commerce profitably with people pushing carts through aisles. The numbers don't work, so the humans are leaving and the robots are staying. And when the system is calibrated, it genuinely works. Speed of assembly is faster. Order accuracy can improve over a tired in-store picker on a packed Saturday afternoon. If you're ordering 10 cans of the same thing, a robot is great at that. Truly excellent at that. The problem is everything else. A robot knows a barcode. It does not know the difference between an avocado that is ready for tonight's guacamole and one that will be a black, sad puddle by Thursday. It cannot look at a bunch of bananas and make a judgment call. It cannot notice that the chicken breast in the bin expires tomorrow, and maybe that's not what the customer actually wants. It executes a pick list. The pick list says avocado. There is an avocado. Transaction complete. Substitutions that make no sense. This exact phrase shows up in Kroger delivery reviews with a frequency that is almost impressive. Wrong brand, wrong size, item expiring in 2 days. A substitution so baffling you genuinely cannot reconstruct the logic of it. What you're reading in those reviews is the gap between what a barcode system can do and what a person used to catch. And here's who gets hurt most when delivery gets it wrong. The 72-year-old man who started ordering groceries online after a knee surgery and never went back to the store. Not because he doesn't want to, but because it's genuinely hard now. For him, a wrong substitution isn't a minor inconvenience to click through on an app. It's a problem. And calling customer service about a substitution he didn't understand isn't how he planned to spend his Tuesday. The warehouses are automated. The tags are digital. The data is being packaged and sold. None of this was free, so who's actually covering the bill? Number 4, the remodel bill. Kroger poured more than $1 billion into remodels, upgrades, and store technology last year. Total company sales growth over the same period, 0.35%, not 3.5%, 0.35. That math does not point in the same direction, and it's worth understanding why Kroger is spending like it's growing when it isn't. The remodels are real: cleaner floors, warmer lighting, more organized fresh sections, expanded prepared food cases. Some of the updated stores look genuinely better, brighter, easier to navigate, more like somewhere you'd want to spend time. That part is true, but remodels are not there to lower your prices. They effectively shift what you spend money on once you're inside. Premium prepared foods, upscale fresh departments, cafe-style grab-and-go sections with $15 grain bowls where the bulk rice bins used to be. These are high-margin categories. They look excellent in an earnings presentation. They do not lower anyone's grocery bill. And the cost of all this renovation has to land somewhere. It doesn't evaporate. It shows up in margin expectations, which means every square foot now needs to justify the investment by generating more revenue per trip. That pressure doesn't produce lower prices. It produces quiet price creep, the slow kind you feel in your stomach before you can prove it with a receipt. There's a specific group of shoppers who experience every remodel in a way that never shows up on the investor call. The route you memorized over years of weekly trips, the shortcut through the cereal aisle, the dairy section you could find with your eyes closed, gets erased and rebuilt from scratch. New product placements, moved departments. The cheese you've bought for a decade is now in a completely different corner of the store, and good luck. Nobody warned you it was coming, and nobody apologizes when it takes you 40 minutes to find what used to take 20. Somehow everything seems more expensive since they redid the store. Shows up in Kroger location reviews with an almost eerie consistency. Shoppers feel it before they can document it. That is not a coincidence. New stores, digital tags, robot warehouses, fuel points tied to app behavior, all of it rolling out while the company is under more financial pressure than it's been in decades. And number 2 is what Congress specifically showed up to ask about. Number 3, the fresh food gambit. Kroger is trying to out Whole Foods, and it is doing it on your grocery bill, not theirs. Here's the situation. Traffic is flat. The store isn't getting busier. So the only move is to squeeze more money out of the same number of trips. And the way you do that is you replace cheap, unglamorous, low-margin raw ingredients with expensive, beautiful, high-margin prepared foods that photograph extremely well and cost 3 times as much. Pre-cut stir-fry vegetables. In one Midwestern Kroger market, the pre-cut version runs roughly 3 times the price of the whole vegetables sitting in a bin right next to them. The $12 salad kit, $3 worth of ingredients if you make it yourself. The heat and eat entree for $1 at $11. Those same ingredients feed 3 people for the same money. Kroger is betting that your time is worth more than the difference. They might be right. That doesn't mean they're doing you a favor. To be fair, the prepared food quality in well-run Kroger locations is legitimately competitive with fast casual. A hot rotisserie chicken at the end of a long day is not nothing. Some of this convenience is real, and some of these people are genuinely busy. But here's the part of the store that's quietly shrinking to make room for all of this. The sale bins, the bulk staples, the unglamorous corner where someone between paychecks could stretch $40 into a real week of cooking. That space is being handed to whichever $12 meal kit photographs best for the circular. The good sale vegetables are gone and the fancy stuff is everywhere now. One shopper. No dramatization required. Today it's 2 extra bays handed to grab and go. Next year it's the bulk staple section cut in half. 5 years from now, the shopper who used to feed a family on $40 a week looks around and realizes the version of this store that worked for her stopped existing somewhere along the way. And there was never an announcement. Kroger will say the core budget section is still there. It is. It's just smaller every time someone in headquarters approves another project. $12 salad kits are annoying. What comes next has a congressional paper trail, and Kroger's only public defense is that they haven't flipped the switch yet. Number 2, the dynamic pricing rollout. The digital tags are live. The algorithm exists. And 2 United States senators want to know exactly when Kroger is going to flip the switch on demand-based grocery pricing. In August 2024, Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bob Casey sent a formal written letter to Kroger's chief executive, not a tweet, not a press inquiry, a formal congressional letter on record warning that the edge shelf infrastructure may enable time of day and weather-based price surges on essential groceries, designed, in their exact words, to extract maximum profits from shoppers who have no convenient alternative. Translation: when it's raining, when it's Friday at 5 in the afternoon, when the store across town is closed and you have no choice but to be here right now, the price of your milk could go up automatically, silently, without a single employee making a decision. Kroger's response: the tags are used for operational efficiency and marking down perishables. That is the only written commitment they have made. Not, we will never do this. Not, the hardware cannot do this. Just, right now this is what we're using them for. Here's what makes that response alarming rather than reassuring. The infrastructure is already installed. The data platform is already running. The ability to execute time-of-day pricing across every product in every store requires no new hardware, no new software, and no press conference. It requires one internal policy decision. That's it. And then the price of your eggs at 7 in the morning is a different number than the price of your eggs at 5 in the afternoon. And you have no way of knowing which price is the real one. This is how airline tickets work. This is how rideshare surge pricing works. American consumers spent years slowly accepting that model for travel and transportation because they had no alternative. Kroger is watching carefully to see if they'll accept it for groceries. Here's the thing about that comparison. You can choose not to fly this weekend. You cannot choose not to eat. The shopper with no car, no alternative store nearby, and a fixed income. They are not participants in a dynamic market. They are a captive audience. And for that shopper, the algorithm lowers prices as often as it raises them is not a comfort. It's a description of a system designed by the people who benefit from it. Your grocery bill used to be the one thing left that didn't work like a Thanksgiving flight. Predictable prices, weekly ads you could plan around. That consistency is what built Kroger into a household name. And the hardware to dismantle that consistency is on every shelf right now, waiting. Dynamic pricing would be alarming enough on its own. But number 1 explains why every single change you've heard about in this video is happening simultaneously, faster, with less deliberation, any other moment in this company's modern history. Number 1, the leadership vacuum and what it costs you. Kroger's longtime chief executive is gone. A $25 billion merger is dead, and somebody has to cover the $600 million breakup fee. Take a guess who ends up absorbing that. Here's the sequence because it matters. In March 2025, Rodney McMullen resigned as Kroger's chief executive after a board investigation into his personal conduct. He had run the company for more than a decade. The board installed Ron Sargent, the former chief executive of Staples and Kroger's lead director, as interim chief executive effective immediately. In February 2026, Kroger's board appointed Greg Foran, the former head of Walmart US, as the company's new permanent chief executive. Sargent stayed on as chairman to support the transition. 3 executives in under 12 months. Controlled chaos dressed up as a leadership plan. All of it while the company was still carrying the wreckage of the merger. Because before any of this, Kroger had spent years of executive attention, legal resources, regulatory lobbying, and strategic paralysis, pursuing a $25 billion acquisition of Albertsons that would have made it the single dominant grocery chain in the United States. The Federal Trade Commission blocked it. Albertsons terminated the deal, and under the merger terms, Kroger owed a $600 million reverse termination fee. Albertsons is separately pursuing additional damages for the years of limbo and cost the pursuit inflicted on their business. $600 million gone. Kroger walked away with nothing. No stores, no synergies, just a bill and a dead strategy. And the company now has a brand new chief executive, a restless board, and shareholders who spent years being told this merger was the path to growth, watching that path lead directly into a wall. Here's why this is the most important thing on this entire list. Greg Foran did not walk into a company operating from strength. He walked into maximum financial pressure with a mandate to deliver margin improvement fast, visibly, in the next few quarters. That pressure is the direct accelerant behind every single change you just heard about. The digital shelf label rollout accelerated. The data monetization business pushed harder. The automation build-out justified at every board meeting. The private label expansion moving faster because national brand margins are too thin right now. The fuel points restructuring optimized because the old version was too expensive to fund. Dynamic pricing infrastructure installed and waiting. Because the company needs new revenue levers and it needs them yesterday, these are not 10 separate decisions made by 10 different teams. They are one response to one problem. A company under maximum pressure deploying every margin tool it has, all at once, faster than it would under normal conditions. When you're trying to convince Wall Street you have this under control, you pull every lever available, simultaneously, with less deliberation than you'd like. Step back and look at the whole picture. Digital tags that change prices in seconds. A billion-dollar scale advertising business funded by your purchase history. Robot warehouses replacing the human judgment that used to catch a bad batch of peaches. Fuel rewards restructured to reward app obedience instead of loyalty. And $600 million in legal exposure at the bottom of the balance sheet, while the new chief executive learns where the bathrooms are. None of this is happening in isolation. It's all connected by one directive. Find margin, find it fast, and find it where the customer won't notice until it's already done. The company that put a pharmacy in your grocery store and a gas pump in your parking lot, that made the weekly circular feel like a promise you could plan around, is now rebuilding itself as a data and pricing machine. And the question Greg Foran has to answer is whether it can do that without losing the neighborhood trust that made it America's largest supermarket chain in the first place. While you were just trying to buy groceries, maybe Greg Foran figures it out. Maybe the new chief executive funds the technology, survives the merger fallout, satisfies the shareholders, and still delivers a store that feels like a fair deal to the family that's been showing up every week for 20 years. New leadership does sometimes mean a real change in direction. It's possible, but here's what you know now that you didn't know when you hit play. The edge tags on those shelves are not just price labels. The Plus card in your wallet is not just a discount. The delivery order coming from an Ocado warehouse is not just convenience. And the fuel points are not a gift. Every single one of those things is a data point, a margin lever, or a pressure valve in a system built to extract value, not just deliver it. The Kroger you walk into in late 2026 will run differently than the one you know today. Even if the logo looks exactly the same from the parking lot. Maybe that's progress, maybe that's betrayal. It's probably both. Subscribe to In Plain Bite. We'll track every one of these changes as they hit the real world. And you will want to know what actually happens when all of this planning meets a customer who just wanted to buy groceries without being turned into a product.